I'm going to go over something really cool. The 18 most addicting foods that are preventing you from losing weight. And when I say addicting, I mean addicting. These are foods that aren't only bad for you, but they make you crave more. Not only at that moment, but you'll find yourself craving these foods days after you've already consumed them. So if you're trying to lose weight or burn fat, your best bet is to stay away from these ingredients, at least for a little while. Now, these aren't just foods that I randomly chose. These are foods that I'm going to talk about today. They're actually based on a study. There's a scale known as the Yale Food Addiction Scale. It's the most commonly used tool to assess food addiction. And researchers at the University of Michigan studied 518 people and their addictive eating patterns. The way that the study was set up was that all the participants got a list of 35 foods, both processed and unprocessed. And for each one of these foods, they had to rate how likely they were to experience problems on a scale of 1 for not addictive at all to 7 for extremely addictive. The crazy thing is that out of the 518 participants, right around 8% of them were diagnosed with full-blown food addiction, and 92% of them had some addictive behavior towards certain foods. So it's pretty safe to say that most people have at least one food out there that they're super addicted to, which is absolutely fine as long as you eat that food in moderation. If you can't eat it in moderation or in sensible portions, then you should stay away from these foods, at least while you're trying to burn fat. Anyway, the list that they came up with had pizza at the very top as most addicting, rated at a 4.01 out of 7. Pizza is super processed and it has a lot of fat in it. It has cheese, which itself has been shown to be addicting, and also has a whole bunch of simple carbs. So it's really easy to see why pizza was number 1. Number 2 was chocolate. The cocoa present in chocolate itself can change our moods. Combine this with the added sugar that's in every chocolate bar, and you have a 3.73 out of 7 on the addicting scale. Chips were actually also rated a 3.73, so they tied chocolate for second place in the most addicting food groups. Right under chips was cookies, rated at 3.71. Cookies are not only addicting because of the high amount of sugar, but they're also considered a comfort food. They're associated with the holidays and with family. Even the act of laying out the cookies on a baking pan and the smell of baking cookies can trigger some serious food addictions. But up next on the list, taking 4th place, was ice cream, which I personally find even more addicting than cookies. Ice cream was rated a 3.68, with French fries following closely behind at 3.6. French fries don't have sugar, but they're crispy because they're fried in fat, which can be very addicting. This was followed by cheeseburgers at 3.51. Again, I think the cheese has at least something to do with cheeseburgers being so high up on that scale. And that was followed up with soda at 3.29 on the addicting scale. Now, soda, even though it wasn't the most addicting food group selected, it is one of the easiest to get in the habit of having all the time. And most people that drink a lot of soda, they don't realize how many extra calories they're having throughout the entire day. By having soda instead of water, you're really having a lot of extra calories. Now, I know you've been told not to have soda before. Everyone knows that if you cut out soda, you're going to lose a whole bunch of weight just by switching from soda to water. However, what if I told you that you don't even want the soda? The reason why you crave soda is because you're addicted to the sugar you get from that can of soda. One can of Coca-Cola has a little under 10 teaspoons of sugar. Certain studies have revealed that sugar can be more addicting to mice than cocaine, and the amount of sugar that you get from just one can of Coke can't be matched by almost anything that you find in nature. So your brain will literally get hooked on the sugar in the soda, and all you have to do to break the habit is break the habit, and you won't even crave it anymore. I challenge you to try not to drink soda for 30 days, and I promise you that you won't even want it anymore. And if you do not drink soda, you're going to be a whole lot lighter at the end of those 30 days. Anyway, moving on, number 9 most addicting was cake, and it's really easy to see why cake is so addicting. Usually it has multiple addicting ingredients, including chocolate and lots of sugar. Then number 10 was cheese, rated at 3.22, followed by bacon at 3.03 and fried chicken at 2.97. Again, there's lots of fat in bacon and fried chicken, plus they're both crispy, so it makes a lot of sense why a lot of people find these two very addicting. Next at 2.73 were plain rolls, followed by buttered popcorn at 2.64. I find it very interesting that people rated popcorn as very addicting. It's actually number 13 on the list, yet there are so many fitness experts recommending popcorn as a healthy snack for weight loss. Well, it's not going to help you lose very much weight at all if you eat a whole bag and you crave more every time that you have just one popcorn kernel. Even if it's the fat-free kind, you're still getting plenty of high glycemic carbohydrates. Then number 14 was breakfast cereals, rated a 2.59. I can easily see how breakfast cereals like Lucky Charms and Fruit Loops and Fruity Pebbles and Cookie Crisp, right, could be super addicting because they're full of sugar. It's a shame that a lot of parents feed their kids this stuff on a daily basis. However, I'm willing to bet that the adult cereals are also, for the most part, pretty addictive because when you add a ton of raisins to a cereal, yes, it's better than just adding processed sugar, but it's still going to turn into sugar in your body. Speaking of processed sugar, gummy bears and gummy type candy were next on the list, rated a 2.57, followed by steak at 2.54, and last but not least were muffins at a straight up 2.5. So there you have it. Those are the 18 most addicting foods. I hope as I've gone through the list, you've noticed some similarities between the ingredients and the foods on the list. The truth is that addictive behavior with food can't just be solved by blaming your willpower. That would be like telling a cigarette smoker that they won't quit because of a lack of willpower. Almost all the foods on this list are processed, and they're especially high in added sugar and fat. Processed foods are usually made to be hyper palatable, which means that they taste super good. The added ingredients and artificial flavors can't be matched by natural food, so you constantly crave processed foods instead. What's worse is that these processed foods, with all their added sugars, will spike and crash your blood sugar, causing you to have more cravings every time you crash. The addicting effects especially are noticeable in the brain. Eating processed junk food releases massive amounts of feel-good chemicals compared to unprocessed foods. This causes a very powerful reward in the brain, one that would never exist without man-made foods. If you are serious about losing weight, it is a great idea to stay away from all processed foods for at least 4 to 6 weeks to give your palate some time to reset so you may experience the actual taste of real food rather than craving all the junk food all the time. That's it, guys. I really hope this video has helped you out. If it has, subscribe to this channel.